You are listening to the Power of Inspiration and Awakening Radio with Julia Griffin. To master a higher frequency for a new state of mind. Once you walked in a forest of splendor in which everything you did and everything you thought was aligned. It is possible at this time to begin to return to the old knowledge. Intuitive healer and manifestor Julia Griffin is here to talk about this unique time in history when all sentient beings, animals, plants, trees, and the earth are intent on creating this change. The wolves awakened her to the most incredible light, which opened gifts and brought knowledge that she longs to share. You are creators, and you are born to be creators of beauty, possibility, and joy. Join Julia on a journey into a beautiful and magical world where amazing possibilities exist. Let us help open the door. The Power of Inspiration and Awakening with Julia Griffin starts right now.
Hello, everyone. I'm Julia Griffin, and you're listening to The Power of Inspiration and Awakening on Transformation Talk Radio. Stay with us for the next hour and let us help you experience a higher vibration and a new state of mind. Welcome to the show. Today, we're talking with Pamala Oslie about auras, parallel universes, and quantum change. Everyone loved this last time, so stay tuned. I want to tell you about Pam. And we'll have a very exciting talk with information that you rarely bump into. So, Pamela is an author, consultant, radio show host, professional psychic intuitive, and aura expert. She has appeared on ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, Fox, The Dr. Oz Show, The View, The Ricky Lake Show, Coast to Coast with George Nooney, Hallmark's Home and Family, Diam TV with Lisa Garr, and many other television and radio shows. She's been featured in many national magazines. Pam has written 4 successful and popular books, Life Colors, Love Colors, Infinite You, and Make Your Dreams Come True, and has a very exclusive clientele, including many celebrities. Pam has spoken at TEDx Talks, the International Forum on New Science, Fortune 500 companies, and many seminars for professionals in the psychology, education, health fields, and more. She was awarded the Holistic Transformational Leader of the Year Award by the Global Association of Holistic Psychotherapy and Coaching. Pam is the founder of www.auracolors.com, a site designed to help you create success, joy, and fulfillment in every area of your life. I've referred a lot of friends there, and they immediately call me back and tell me what their colors are. She has also developed www.lovecolors.com, designed to help you find love and friendship by matching you with people who have compatible aura colors. Welcome, Pam.
Hi, Julia. Great to talk with you again.
Same here. Because perhaps everyone doesn't know about auras. Just give us a little bit of basic information to get started, if you would.
Okay, well, an aura is an electromagnetic or energy field that radiates off of us. And the way I see it is it's like these glowing lights, bands of glowing lights that radiate off. And usually when I talk about the aura, I talk about the 1 or 2 colors of bands or bands of color that are closest to a person's body. Those are the life colors. That's what reveals their personality, their life purpose, careers that are going to be fulfilling, relationship style, compatibility, potential health issues, money. All of that stuff is revealed in the 2 bands of colors closest to the body.
That's so fascinating. So I do notice that people's auras become much larger when they meditate, when they're happy, when they're aligned. So I think you say we have those basic colors, the 2 colors that are close to the body, but they also respond to specific types of energy. So what happens when we focus on universal unconditional love?
Well, you said it, Julia. You're right. The aura gets really big. When people feel expansive or safe or happy, excited, the aura gets really big. Or if they're about to make a big presentation in front of a huge crowd or something, the aura gets really big. So when we focus on universal peace or global harmony or love, the aura definitely gets big and expands.
It's really pretty exciting. I think that that's why sometimes we have an affinity with a speaker, is we're feeling their extended aura before it even begins.
That's correct. And Julia, even if a lot of people don't see the aura, I believe we've all felt it. That's why you can meet somebody for the first time and instantly either feel comfortable with them or drawn to them, and other people you don't want to stand close to or be in the same room. You're feeling their energy. You're feeling their aura.
Right. So everyone is always reading auras, whether they're aware of it or not, which is pretty fascinating.
Exactly right. That's right. That's exactly right.
Okay, I want to bring this up because, as I said, I've referred a lot of my friends to your site, and they've done the test to find out what color their aura is. So tell us just a little bit about what you can learn and how you can improve your life from knowing what your aura colors are.
Well, I believe that when we came here, my experience, and a lot of people see the aura differently, so if somebody's listening and go, no, that's not how I see it, that's totally fine. I don't think we taste food different. I don't think we taste food the same way either. So basically, once people understand their aura colors, their life colors, again, it reveals why you're here on the planet. So it's like the same as astrology and numerology and iridology and palmistry. We've kind of left clues behind in case we got here and forgot why we were here, what our plan was. And so in the aura colors, the reason it's helpful to know is because it gives people permission to be who they really are. So they're not trying to fit in or do what some authority figure said or their parents expect of them. I want people to be happy and fulfilled and living their life purpose. So it is revealed in the aura colors. And Julia, the other benefit in understanding the different personalities that are with each color is it helps us get along with each other. Instead of thinking everybody's got to think the same way we do or act the same way we do, if we understand somebody's a lavender or a violet or a blue or a yellow, we understand what that means, then we allow people, at least I do, it helps us get along. It helps us understand each other, dialogue with each other, communicate, speak each other's language. And basically, when you really learn about it, you can help bring the best out of that other person.
And that's really the language of harmony. I said that to someone, whatever you're doing about COVID, I just say, you know what, that's perfect for you. I don't want to have a debate about it. I don't want to talk to you about it. It's perfect for you.
Yeah.
But one of my friends who looked at this, I think she was blue. I think I have it correctly. But she said, no wonder I always want to be with my family and I don't have that much of a social life. And I thought that was really an interesting comment.
I've had a lot of people, well, blues, for example, I see 14 different aura colors. Blues are some of the most emotional and loving and kind and big-hearted and spiritual. So I've heard blues tell me before, oh, guy, no wonder I cry at the drop of a hat. No wonder I can watch commercials and cry. It's a blues personality. That's what they're very heartfelt.
Yeah, that's really so beautiful to think about that way and really understand where everyone is.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, because I think people will be curious about this, how does your dating site work with aura colors?
Well, I've set up the algorithms so that when people go there and they take the quiz, and there's also the free quiz on my other site, auracolors.com, free quiz and videos and written information, lots of information to help people. The dating site, Love Colors, it's to help people match up with people that are the most compatible with them, whether it's friendship or dating, love life, because some of the colors, Julia, are really compatible, and some of the other colors are going to have greater challenges. And it doesn't mean that couples can't make it even if their aura colors are not compatible. Once they understand, like, for example, if a green gets together with a yellow, they're exact opposites in the personality. Greens are very driven, type A, workaholic, drive, accomplish, make money, achieve. I mean, they're very driven type A personalities. And yellows are the big kids at heart. They just want to play. They don't really care that much about money. They're either creative or they're healers or they're physical people, and they love dogs. They're much more easygoing, playful, fun. They're not driven to accomplish. So you can imagine if those two colors get married, that there's going to be some potential conflict in their goals. But when they understand it, oh, you're a green, oh, you're a yellow, now they can bring the best out of each other and make it beneficial and respect each other. And then they can get along, even though it is going to be more challenging than, say, two blues together or a blue and a yellow or, sensitive tan, analogical tan. There's certain colors that are very compatible easily and others not so much.
It's like loving someone and agreeing to disagree.
Yeah. So the Love Colors site is basically to help you meet people that have compatible aura colors. And I set up that these are the most compatible colors, these are moderately compatible, and these are the colors that you're probably going to have challenges with, just to be aware of it so that if you decide to go into a relationship with each other, you can learn how to get along.
Oh, that's really a great thing. One of the things I want to talk about is what we're mentioning right now, and we'll go more deeply into it later in this program, is that there's so many aspects of the invisible world that you can perceive as you start to wake up. But it's all based on energy, and it helps to develop your gifts, or it awakens your gifts. But really, we're reading energy all the time. So what do you think are some of the differences when we start to grasp and see and perceive the unseen world?
Okay, Julie, what a great conversation. Here's the deal. It's amazing at all, based on quantum physics. Quantum physics is saying everything's made of energy, that there's really nothing solid to our world. So the first thing that amazes me about reality and energy is that we even can perceive form at all, since it's all energy. So the more in touch with energy that you get, the more in touch with consciousness, because that's what brings energy into form. The more interesting your life is, the more you have manifestation abilities, and I don't like to use the word control over your life, manifesting abilities, creative design over your own life. So the more in touch you are with consciousness, with energy, the happier your life is, the more you feel at ease, because you don't feel like a victim anymore. You know that you're actually creating things in your life. I realize this is a big conversation, Julia, but just even getting in touch with the energy of auras or energy fields and healing, using energy to heal, that right there is a basic part of using or tapping into or understanding or working with energy. And then it goes all the way up to, really transferring or going in and out of parallel universes, which again are just different frequencies of energy. So it's a wide spectrum.
I think when you were talking, I think this is a good way to say it, that when you awaken to the energy, if you want to call it manifesting or whatever you do, energy in general becomes more responsive to you because you're aware of it. Things happen more quickly, and the universe itself becomes more responsive to you because you're more responsive to its energy.
Right, we become more aware that, because most of us, we're just kind of unconscious, and we go around thinking that things are separate from us and there's no connection. And quantum physics is saying just the opposite: entanglement. It's all energy, and we create. And so you're right. We're more aware that the universe responds to our thoughts, our emotions, the energy that we put out. I mean, that's basically the concept of karma. What you put out comes back to you. So basically what I believe we're doing is we're becoming more aware of how the universe works. We're becoming more aware of what energy, the different forms that energy takes, and how we can interact with it. So it's always been there. We've been unconscious creators, and I believe that we're starting to become more consciously aware of how we create.
Yes, and for people who want more of this, just notice how you feel where you go, and notice how you feel when you're talking to people. You're actually reading the energy. If you're feeling great, you're probably going in the right direction. If it feels heavy or you feel tired, then evaluate it.
That's right. That's right. Energy is definitely, our bodies are made of energy, and those are biofeedback mechanisms. It's like they're meant to show us where we're either blocked or unhappy or resisting. That's what creates illnesses. Energy, and geez, it's so important, Julie. I'm glad you're bringing up this conversation and this topic.
Well, we respond to everyone and everything around us, and as soon as you start to notice, you can change how you respond, and often it will change, but if it doesn't change, get out of it. That's my theory.
Well, there's a deep conversation in there about parallel universes, about getting out of a parallel universe that you're not happy with. It's like whatever your frequency is. I like to use the example of if you're listening to a song on a radio that you don't like, we know how to change the channel. And basically all you're doing is changing the frequency that you've aligned with, that you're tuned into. You're just changing a frequency. We don't realize that we can do that with our lives if we're aligning with a frequency that, like you said, feels heavy or dense or unhappy or resistant or struggle. We can change the frequency and have our lives change dramatically.
Yes, and then that's when we stop being victims and we really start exploring ourselves and exploring the universe. And it's a huge frontier for people who want something different and are bored right now. That's a good direction to go in.
It really is. To me, it's so exciting because, again, you're right. We're going away from, I believe, at least my choice is to go away from thinking that we're victims and separate from everything to seeing the energetic connection with everything and that we create. I just want to become more of a conscious creator.
Yes. That's the trick of the frontier, I think.
I agree.
So we've been talking with Pamala Oslie about auras, about the unseen world, and about how the universe responds to us. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about new realities, parallel universes, and some incredible things. So stay with us, and we'll go to break right now.
TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Hi, I'm Laura Goldstein, and here's a Coffee with the Universe tip. Ever wonder why you want to go to the gym more, for example, but you just can't make it happen? You find yourself rearranging your underwear drawer instead of getting in the car. If this sounds like you, you might have caught a case of the shoulds. Maybe you think you should lose 20 pounds to fit back into your favorite pair of jeans, or that you should be healthier in general. It all sounds good, but deep down you just aren't into it. Truth is, making choices from shoulds just leads to guilt, resentment, and a whole lot of procrastination. So take a good look at your goals. Are you shoulding yourself anywhere? If so, give yourself permission to let it go. For more insights like this, tune into my Transformation Talk radio show called Coffee with the Universe. It's a live call-in show. I'd love to support you.
Get empowered. Transformation Talk Radio.
Tune into 3 Things I've Learned with Susan Dolce every first and third Tuesday of the month at noon Pacific, 3 o'clock Eastern on Transformation Talk Radio. Join Susan and her guests as they share the stories that shift our souls about radical transformations, courageous breakthroughs, and life lessons. 3 Things I've Learned with Susan Dolce. For more information, go to transformationtalkradio.com or visit Susan's website at susandolce.com.
Hello, everyone. I'm Julia Griffin at onetrueself.com, onetrueself.com, and you're listening to The Power of Inspiration and Awakening on Transformation Talk Radio, where you can experience a higher vibration and a new state of mind. I'm talking with Pamala Oslie about creating a higher reality and changing the channel of your life. So stay tuned and find out how you can do it too. So, Pam, one of the interesting things is I've been reading your book, Infinite You. I'm only about halfway through, but I loved your thoughts about how we can pull in particles of light to create a new reality or manifest, because the previous paradigm for that was that it took huge amounts of energy to create anything.
Right. Well, you know what science has discovered, and again, this is not new agey, weirdo, what are you guys talking about? You know, a lot of things that looked like science fiction before are now science fact. That's what's happening. So what they've discovered is what they're calling the field, right? The unseen waves of energy. They don't even know what black matter is or black energy, right? But they have discovered the field. And that's where all things come from. And to simplify it, put it in lay terms, when somebody focuses their attention on the field, particles blink into light. And that's how matter starts to be formed. And so whatever we imagine, whatever we focus on, whatever we believe in are basically the things that become form, right? Become matter.
Yes,
so,
because the particles of light all coalesce and create it.
Right. That's right. So it comes from the unseen into the seen and then goes back into the seen. I'm fascinated by quantum physics. They said, so watch this analogy. When you're watching a TV show or a movie, you think those are real people on the screen, but basically all they are particles of light blinking off and on, right?
Right.
And so what they're saying is that's the same as us, that we're basically made of energy and just particles of light blinking off and on, and we're blinking off just as much as we're blinking on, but our physical perception has been trained to just feel like it's just always on, just solid matter. But in reality, it's particles of light blinking off and on, just like the movies. I think that's fascinating.
It really is. And it's true, because if you do a lot of yoga or a lot of breathing, there are moments that there are pauses, that nothing is happening.
Mm-hmm.
You're blinking on and off. The universe breathes you. If you pause long enough, it breathes through you.
Yeah. That's what they talk about in meditation. You go, where you are is in the space between the thoughts. You're in the space between the matter. It's like, so, I don't know. I think quantum physics is proving, I believe, and others do too, that quantum physics is actually proving what spiritual teachers and mystics have been telling us for centuries. So I think it's fun that they're coming together.
I do too, and I'm thinking as we're talking about this, that we're really holograms to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
So no wonder holding a hologram, a very strong visual with an emotion, creates what you want.
Yeah, I mean, this conversation can get so deep. I've had many conversations with people that have had near-death experiences where when they're on the other side, they leave their bodies and they've died and they've gone to the other side. They said when they're over there, it's like this side was more like a dream. So I tell people, when you're having a dream, unless you're having a lucid dream, when you're having a dream, you don't know you're dreaming until you wake up. But otherwise, it's all just thought form, right? We're creating it with our thoughts. Well, people have had near-death experiences say the same thing when they go over to the other side. They say this realm is more like a dream, that it's not really real. It's energy. It's thought forms. So it's like, wow. And, mystics have been, and indigenous people have been saying that forever. I just find it interesting that we're shifting our awareness and our concepts of reality and who we really are, which to me, Julie, makes life so much more fun and interesting. And I'm going to use the word magical just because, and not woo-woo magical, but like they used to think things were magical before they proved the scientific evidence behind it, right? And it's like, so we're just discovering things that look like magic, but they're actually scientific principles.
I think magic is inviting the universe in a positive way.
I agree.
And letting let that great light and that great love come into whatever it is you're doing and to give it life and form.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing all the time. It's just people don't realize that. So I think I don't know, I just feel like we're in very interesting times. It seems challenging, but we're in the birth canal, right? And so birth pains.
And I did want to go back to what you said about density, that it's not really dense, it just feels that way. I know that the wolves told me that we were on one of the deepest layers of density, but that as people changed their thoughts, we would go up, and that's when everything would become more magical, when we accepted that we could do that.
Yeah, well, it's easier. I mean, I think that's part of enlightenment, is lightening up, right? Realizing it's all just light, because, there's so many puns about everything's so grave, it's all gravity, and so everything feels heavy and pulled down because of gravity, because it's so grave. As soon as we start realizing who we are and start lightening up and seeing that it all is light, boy, things just, they flow a lot more easily. So
they really do.
Magic.
So for people who are trying to work on manifesting or invoking that wonderful energy from the universe, do you have a special method of letting go of fear or other blocks or beliefs?
My methods of letting go of fear have evolved over the years. So before, when it was fear, I would look at it and face it. What are you afraid of? And I'd start punching holes in it, like that's not really the truth. And one of the methods was when we have a belief, Julia, we gather evidence to support that belief. So if you have this belief like, oh my gosh, terrible things are happening and nothing ever works out and I'm never going to be loved or I'm never going to have enough money or whatever, we start gathering evidence to support that, right? So when I used to deal with fear, I started challenging my beliefs. And one of the ways you do that then is you come up with an opposite belief or a different belief or a better belief and start gathering evidence to support that belief is true, right? So that's one of the ways I used to do to get out of fear. Then I got to the point where I would just breathe deeply, go into meditation, breathe, and just let go. Someone who works with dolphins and whales in the ocean tell me that they've observed whales. You know, whales can get barnacles on them. They notice whales diving really, really, really deep, and then the pressure is so hard on the barnacles that the barnacles let go. They go, well, there you go. That's another way to let go of some fear, is just go so deep with your breath and your meditation and your connection with Source that you just let go of the fears. So I do that often, but one of the most fun things that I do now, this is how I deal with fears now. And mostly I don't have a lot of fears. My anxiety comes up if I've got a whole lot to do and I'm afraid I can't get it all done in time or I won't be able to do it right. Then I find myself getting anxious. And now this won't speak to a lot of people, but this is my new way of dealing with fear, letting go of fear. So I start laughing and go, you know what? I'm creating the things. I'm actually creating these experiences, and then I'm making them scare me. So how about if I create different experiences? When I realize that I'm creating them, then I don't have to be afraid of them. It's like I'm watching a scary movie. Well, change the channel. It's like you chose that channel. So I just changed the channel. I change what I'm creating and realize that I'm creating it, and then I change it consciously, and then I'm not afraid anymore.
Right. So here's another one for people who want to do that or want to do it a different way. Sometimes I lie on the sofa, I read for 10 minutes, and I will go about half asleep. So I'm almost asleep, but not quite. And then I send energy and see myself doing whatever it is that I need to do so I'm not behind. And oddly enough, it makes it very easy to do those things.
Yeah. No, even just words that we say, I use that a lot. Watch the difference between, we've used the word try. So watch the difference in the energy. It's like, see yourself at home or at work trying to get something done by 5 o'clock. See yourself at work trying to get something done by 5 o'clock. You're trying to get it done by 5 o'clock. Feel the energy that's attached to that. Now just
the
change
phone's going to ring
word.
and ring and ring. Yeah.
Yeah, and trying has a fear of failure and a stress, and I'm struggling to get it done. But watch just even changing the word. Now see yourself at work focused on getting something done by 5 o'clock. See yourself at work focused on getting something done by 5 o'clock. Do you see the difference in the energy? So
yes,
just even using
calm.
different words. Yeah, well, and it feels empowered and calm, and you've got this feeling like you're going to get it done. As soon as you focus on it, you're going to get it done. So sometimes in moving past anxiety or fear, I just change the words I'm repeating to myself. Oh yeah, that makes it better. Or
I know it makes it sound so easy, but if you're listening and you haven't done this before, it does take a good bit of repetition to get there. So be patient if you work with it.
Yeah, like anything. We've learned everything by repeating it. Walking, talking, eating, writing, driving a car. We've learned by practicing it. You know, it's funny when I talk to guides on the other side, getting advice for people, like if I'm doing a reading and some of the information comes through for them, and I go, you guys always make it sound so easy. You know, you're not in this plane. You always make it sound so easy. And they always laugh and go, you guys always make it so hard. And I go, okay, touche, I get it.
Yes.
We've got a belief that things are hard work and struggle, and I'm really letting go of that. I don't believe we were created to do hard work and struggle, Julie. I feel like we came here for the fun, for the experience, to create, to enjoy physical touch and smell and taste, and we came here to enjoy it, the garden, and we've turned it into believing that it's hard work and struggle and victim and scary, and I'm like, oh man, I am so over that.
I know, and that's a big energy right now. So for everyone who's willing to change over, you will help all of creation by changing your mind about that. Yes,
exactly, and changing the story. Julie, we get so addicted to our stories and our emotions, and no judgment, just an observation. We get very addicted to our emotions, whether it's drama or fear or anger or hurt or whatever it is, we can get very addicted to it. And again, no judgment. But if you change the story, because we can get addicted to the story. So what I've learned is like, okay, change the story, turn the page, next. And I create a different story and life changes immediately. And if people go, oh, you're not facing reality, I go, which reality do you want me to face? The struggle one, the hard one where I'm not happy, or they're just as real? The new story is just as real. I'm creating it by focusing on it, and boy, my life changes.
It does change. So we're going to go to break now. I'm talking with Pamela Oslie about how you can create and live a much better life, a beautiful life, in this big time of change. So stay with us, and we'll be back in just a minute.
You know, marriage is not always easy, but skills that improve communication go a long way. Tune in to the Relationship Rehab Show, Recovering Happiness in Your Love with Nancy Landrum and Dr. Pat each month on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Nancy is an author and teacher empowering couples to create and sustain loving marriages. Learn to listen, speak, and handle conflict with respect so your love can flourish. To learn more about Nancy and her work, visit nancylandrum.com.
Listen up. The wealth you receive is a result of your personal relationship with the soul of money, meaning your spiritual well-being affects your ability to create abundance. Jennifer Bloom works with people to mend the spiritual disconnects that block up the cash flow. How's your relationship with yourself? Are you in balance with the divine? I know, these are big questions, but there are answers. Take Jennifer's free money relationship quiz to learn where you need to focus your energy and watch yourself grow into the abundance you deserve. Trust the divine. Learn to receive. You are worthy of all the wealth you seek. Visit jenniferbloom.com and click on the purple banner to take the free money relationship quiz. That's Jennifer Bloom, BLOOME.com.
Your inspiration all day on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
We're back with Pamela Oslie, and we're talking about creating a different life. We have some tools and some ideas for you, and then we're going to talk about parallel realities. So, Pam, do you want to go ahead and share your information on tools?
Let's play a fun little game. It's short, and then I'll give you a tool, an easy way to start shifting what's going on. Okay, so right now, everybody in the room you're in right now, or wherever you are right now, look around and notice everything that you see that's green. Really look around your environment. Notice everything that you see that's green. Really look. Look at everything. Look behind you. Look around. Look up above. Look below. Okay, got it? All right, now close your eyes. Now, no peeking, no cheating. Now, with your eyes closed, remember everything you just saw that was green.
Okay.
Remember everything that you saw that was green. Okay, think you got it? We're rushing through this. People can do this more on their own, a little slower. Okay, now open your eyes and look around, see if you missed anything. Did you miss anything that was green? Okay.
I missed
close
one
your eyes
thing.
again. Oh, okay, close your eyes again. Now, again, no cheating, no peeking. With your eyes closed now, remember everything you just saw that was red or orange.
Uh-oh.
All right. Now, open your eyes and look around and see if you see anything in your environment that was red or orange. Okay.
Only about 9 or 10 things.
All right. Now, here's the point. You didn't see those things because you had an agenda going on to look for green. So you were looking at all the things that were green. The red or orange things were right there all along, but you didn't notice them because you didn't have an agenda going on to look for those. So we do the same thing with life. If people are so convinced that life is hard or scary or they're suffering and nothing good ever happens for them, they're going to look around and see that. Okay, that's what I mean by we gather evidence to support that belief, right? But if you really start shifting your attention or your agenda to look for all the things that do work, or you have made money before, you have been loved before, whatever it is, you start changing your focus and your agenda, you're going to start seeing those things, and it will shift your experience of your life. Okay, so that's a fun little game. Now, here's a really easy tool to give you an example. So right now, in your imagination, imagine looking at a yellow pencil. Right? Just imagine that yellow pencil. Look at how sharp it is, the edges. Then look at the writing on the pencil. Look at the eraser, the little silver band or gold band that's on it. Really look at that yellow pencil, right?
Mm-hmm.
Got it? Okay, now let go of that and imagine looking at a red rose, right? A red rose, and like there can be dewdrops on it. Look at the velvety touch or the color of that red rose, and look at the stem, see if it's got thorns or not. The green leaves, really look at that red rose, right? Okay, now watch. Now, how hard was it to stop thinking about the yellow pencil and start focusing on the red rose?
It was easy.
Yeah, see, all you had to do was change your focus, your attention, and focus on something more positive or whatever. If you focus on the problem, you're going to get more problem. If you focus on the solution, you're going to get more solution. So that's how easy it is. However, if you've been looking at a yellow pencil for your whole life, it's like, no, yellow pencil, that's all I see, yellow pencil, yellow pencil, yellow pencil. It may be a little bit more challenging to start looking at a red rose, but it's still not impossible. It's just a choice to shift your attention, to shift what you're focused on. Okay? So those are some just examples of how we experience our life and how we really have more choice over it than we think.
I love it. Thank you. With the first game with the green, I wanted to win so much that I didn't notice anything else. I have to admit my ego was in the way, which is pretty hilarious.
Well, you had an agenda going on, you know, so it's like, oh, man, and then you look around, and it's funny. Sometimes people, they don't even notice what they're wearing. I go, what, did you have any red on in what you were wearing, or what about your phone or your radio, whatever? It's like, oh, I didn't even notice that.
Right.
Just fun games.
That was how it went. Yeah, so tell us a little bit. Go ahead.
I have a book called Make Your Dreams Come True that has a whole lot of these games in there. Games and processes helping people discover the beliefs that they have that might be limiting them or causing them problems that they didn't even know they have. So I do it through games. And then I show some processes on how you can change it, just like the pencil to the rose, right? So that people can shift their beliefs and therefore their experience in life. So that's my book, Make Your Dreams Come True. If people want some more of those games.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
So people who are understanding what we're saying, they should definitely get the book.
Mm-hmm. And then if you want the advanced one, you do what you've been reading, which is Infinite You. Mm-hmm.
Right. So how do parallel realities relate to past lives and the life that we're in right now?
Well, first let me explain to people that quantum physics has evidence that parallel universes are real. It sounds bizarre, it sounds science fiction, but if you study a double slit experiment, you see what they've discovered about that there's parallel universes going on. Let me just use this example. I don't think I did this already with you today. I'm losing track.
No, we haven't.
Like right now, there are at least 10 radio stations broadcasting around you, right? And they're all those waves, radio waves are in the air around you all over the place, but you don't know they're there because you're not tuned into them. But if you turn on your radio and you say go to 99.9, you're going to hear the music, the talk, the information that's coming out of that station because you aligned with it. That becomes your reality. Now, if you change it over to 107, now 107, the music, the talk, the people, the show, that becomes your reality, and that's what you're focused on. But 99.9, those waves are still there right around you all along, but you don't know they're there because you're not aligned with them. You're not tuned into them. That's the way parallel universes work. They're actually saying that every time you make a choice, you choose between going left or going right, that there's another you, but we're infinite beings, Julia. There's another you, an aspect of you that went off and chose that went to the right instead of the one to the left. So that means there's a you that got married to someone you met in high school. There's a you that never got married at all. There's a you that's got 4 kids. There's a you that doesn't have any kids. There's a you that lives where you are now, and there's a you that moves someplace else, right? So everything you've ever imagined happening comes into existence. That's that manifesting. Anything you imagine, anything you focus on actually comes into existence right there. Now, whether or not you align with it shows you which reality you're in. So we think there's only one universe, but we go in and out of them all the time. Every time we make a decision, every time we make a choice from one to another, we go in and out of them all the time. but they're seamless. They don't have doors. They don't have windows, so we don't know that we're doing it, but we're shifting our frequency. So what I'm learning how to do is consciously shift into parallel universes. So what people then can do is if they've got a health problem, they can shift out of that universe into a universe where there's not a health problem because they don't believe in it, they're not experiencing it, they don't vibrate with it. Or if they're lonely and single and they really want to be in a happy relationship, which is what I did, I shifted into a universe where I was in a happy relationship, you know, and where I live and money and career, all of it. I consciously shift and focus on the universe that I want to be in. Now, to answer your question, the same applies for people who have crossed over. They're still alive. They're just in another frequency. They're in a bandwidth that maybe you're not tuned into, but I can tune into them. I can talk to them all the time. They're right there, just like spirit guides, people that have crossed over. And the same applies to other lifetimes. Now, Julia, we've been trained to think linear, step 1 and then step 2 and then step 3 and then step 4. We think everything happens in time linear, but that's not really the way it works. In spirit or outside of this concept, there is no such thing as time outside of physical reality. So what I've heard from beings on the other side, as well as people who have had near-death experiences, is when they get over there, they see all of their lives happening simultaneously. They're aware of what's going on in the 5th century in their life, or the 17th century, or something BC. They see all their lives happening simultaneously. Our souls are infinite, and they're very expansive. You can't contain your soul into one lifetime, one little body. But because that's how we've learned how to process life, is sequentially and linearly, that it's hard for us to realize that all these things are going on simultaneously. But it's the same thing. They're just parallel universes. They're happening in other places, other times, other dimensions, whatever you want to say, but they're still parallel universes. You see how infinite we really are, right?
Yes, and I do know, too, that at a certain level of knowing, let's call it that, universal knowing, these lifetimes start to pop in and out.
Oh, yeah.
You're there for a few minutes, or you recognize someone from one of those lifetimes or something like that.
Absolutely. We can connect with them all the time. I had a long, long conversation with a world-famous quantum physicist, David Deutsch, when I was in England. Hours talking with him. And this is one of his biggest fortes is parallel universes. But his belief was that we can't communicate with ourselves in these other universes, that they're basically, they don't connect. You can't cross bridges with them. They went, well, okay, now wait a second. How do you know that if you're not having a memory, it's not a past you, a younger you communicating with you right now? How do you know if you're getting a hunch or a feeling or a premonition of something that's not a future you communicating with you? And oddly enough, his answer was, well, I choose not to believe that because otherwise I'd have to change a whole lot of other things I believe in. Now, I know that we can communicate with our other selves, our past self, our future self, because I do it all the time in psychic readings. I've been able to see, and again, people have free will, but the only way I can see somebody's future, and sometimes I get incredible details, Julia, like I knew one girl was going to meet her husband in a restaurant in Los Angeles, and she goes, I never go to Los Angeles, at Christmas time, and he was French, and his name was Eric, and he was going to come up to the table where she was sitting there with her girlfriends and introduce himself, and he was going to take her to France, and they were going to get married, meet his family. I got very specific details. And years later, she didn't even remember that reading. She was down in LA at Christmas time, sitting there at the table, and this guy came up and introduced himself. He goes, hi, my name is, and she said, Eric. And he went, what? How did you know that? She didn't even remember about the reading, but he was French, and that's who she married, went to France, the whole bit. The only way I could have seen that is if that reality already existed. And Einstein talks about that. He said, just because you haven't arrived at a lake yet doesn't mean that lake doesn't already exist. So yes. Time is way more interesting. It's a concept that we use to have different experiences, but it's still all simultaneous.
I agree. I'm going to say it in a very simple way that the wolf said to me, the path you want to follow is the one that goes from your heart to the universe. And
Nice.
when you start doing that, you can find your way.
Nice. Well, see, that's the benefit of listening to your soul, listening to your intuition, as opposed to a fear-based ego. And again, ego's not wrong. It's just limited perception. Our egos are like our eye, the small eye, our eyes were created to perceive physical reality. But if you only depend on your eye, it has limited perception. It can't hear things behind you. It can't smell smoke in the room. It has limited perception. Our souls have very expansive wisdom and knowledge. And if we learn how to tap into that and really listen to it, and higher guidance and source and guides, our lives, oh my gosh, you've seen that, right, Julia? It becomes so much more, so much easier, so much more expansive. It flows more instead of our little egos having a temper tantrum because of like, no, there's no train behind me. I don't see it because, therefore it doesn't exist. It's like, okay, there's a train behind you. I hear
life
it.
becomes so fascinating, and there's so much wonder.
Yes,
and the way it presents itself is so beautiful.
I agree. It's very expansive and beautiful. And, people have said this before, that life works for us, not against us. But, we have to.
It's just finding that way from your heart to step onto that path. And when you do, whatever you need to know will come in. But I am agreeing with you because, we can all see and feel the future to some degree.
Yeah.
That's how we know we're on the right path.
Yeah, well, and here's the key for me anyway, Julia, is I really believe in free will. We are allowed to have any experiences we want. I still believe we chose a theme that we wanted for this lifetime. That's why some people are yellow aura colors, and some people are blue, and some people are violet, and some people are green. There's a theme that goes within a personality type with each aura color. So there's a theme. It's like, I wanted to be a certain person, that I wanted to have this different experience, but we still have free will. So when I, for example, give psychic readings to people, I look to see, based on their beliefs, their energy, their emotions, their fears, whatever, I can see what path they're on and what their future is going to look like, because I can see where they're headed. I use the analogy of, like, let's say you're in a big city and, you're driving down a street. If I'm in a helicopter and I fly up above it, I can go, there's a traffic jam ahead for you. You might want to turn right on this next street and go over a couple streets and then up, so you avoid that traffic jam. But if people go, how do you see that? I don't see that. I don't see anything ahead of me. It's like, and a few blocks later, there's the traffic jam. So I can see where people are headed based on their thoughts, their beliefs, their emotional energy, what path they're on. Now, if they're on a path that's not in alignment with their best good or their happiness or what their soul's trying to tell them, I'll show them what their other choices are, but they still have free will to have whatever experiences they want.
Right. And I say sometimes people take a detour, but it's not necessarily bad, because you learn a lot from that.
Yeah. We have free will to experience. Some people may have, as a matter of fact, we've seen them. We've all done it. We've made some choices that we go, oh my gosh, why did I do that? Why did I choose that? It's like, well, you got an experience, you got some emotion out of it, you got to learn from it. You don't have to judge it. Just go, oh, well, that was an interesting experience, and then you move forward.
You get a lot of discernment out of that. You really do. So one of the things I was going to ask you, what is your take on how dualistic society is right now? How everybody seems to be on one side or the other, very left and right.
I know, it's amazing how separated it is right now, and at odds. The them against us has gotten very diverse. Now, Julia, this is how I've learned how to handle it. I believe everything in my life is a reflection of something that's going on inside of me. So if I see a divisiveness like that, or, the two sides are warring against each other or disagreeing, whatever, I go, okay, where am I disagreeing inside myself? I go, oh, guy, I am doing that. You see the old me, not what, still attached to the old way of looking at life. And then the new me, it's like, no, there's this whole other way of doing life and this consciousness. So I have an inner battle going on with me. And boy, is it definitely playing out in the outer world like a big megaphone, or it's amplified out there. So my focus is not to change the outer world. I've noticed that if I change the battle or the conflict or the things that are going on inside of me, my outside world changes. And that, again, is creating my reality, going into different parallel universes. So throughout this, I've been kind of awestruck by it, or confused, or bewildered by, oh my gosh, it's almost like we're living in, well, we are. I feel like people are living in different realities. It's the most divisive I've ever seen, where I can actually look at these people and go, wait, what? You can't be in the same reality as me, because how are you seeing it that way? That's the exact opposite way of how I'm seeing it. How is that even possible? So to me, it's a very extreme version of different realities. But anyway, it's like I tell people, if you're watching a movie and you don't like the movie, you don't go up to the screen and try and change what they're doing. You go to the projector and you change the film that's going through the projector to change the movie that's playing out there. And so that's how I do it.
That's the same conclusion I came to, that if I could stay connected to my heart and in a state of wholeness and project that light around me, and I can do it for about 10 or 15 miles around me pretty easily, I noticed that it would become calm around me. I couldn't feel the agitation. And then I knew people that I worked with, clients and people who do classes, were also picking up on it. So I thought, okay, so that's what I'm supposed to do for now, is to just get underneath it or above it, whichever way you want to call it, and really focus on that wholeness.
Yes, Julie, I love that. I feel like we're in a phase of opportunity, of actually, for me anyway, it's an opportunity to live my talk, to see evidence that what I'm recognizing about the nature of reality is really true. So I go into non-judgment, I go into love and sending out positive energy, and I've noticed that things change in my outer world, whether you want to say the whole world or just, within a few miles or blocks or just the people they've had evidence, proof, like a bunch of meditators. I think Maharishi brought a bunch of meditators to Washington, D.C., and they meditated for, I think it was a week, just meditated on peace and harmony and love and peace and harmony and love. And the crime rate in Washington, D.C. dropped dramatically. So there's proof that the energy that you put out can affect everything around you.
Mm-hmm. So for everybody who's listening, when you're projecting really positive feelings and thoughts, you're changing all the energy around you. Another thought I had about the duality is that, sometimes extreme duality precedes a big positive manifestation. Like you can't stand where you live. You can't keep going with the relationship. You want another job. So one is good, one is bad. You see what I mean?
Oh, totally. I mean, this is how we've made changes before basically the caterpillar is falling apart so the butterfly can emerge, or we're in the birth canal and we're experiencing birth pains. So a lot of times things will fall apart so that new things can show up. Or the dichotomy, it's so obvious, just what you said. It's like, I don't like my job anymore. And that's what's happening with a lot of people, by the way, Julia. I believe this whole COVID thing the purpose of it was to get us to go inside and get quiet and connect inside. It's like, go inside, you guys, go inside and be quiet. Don't be running around there fighting and arguing and being really busy and stressed out and being in a job you don't like. Go inside. You have an opportunity right now to go inside, connect with your heart and soul, and see who you really are. And I've got a number of clients that tell me, you know what? I was so hectic and busy in my job that it wasn't until I was forced to go home and work from my home and be quiet and not be out there running around and doing things and being active and going to the movies and going to blah, blah, blah. When I went inside and I really got in touch with me, I realized I don't like my job. I don't want to do that job anymore. I'm not happy with it. I now want to do what my heart and soul is calling me to do. And people are making major shifts in their lives because of it.
That's the first phase of the shift.
Yeah,
that's the first phase of the shift. So we're running out of time. I want to tell them that they can find you at www.auracolors.com. And I want to thank you for tuning in to the Power of Inspiration and Awakening show, where you can experience a higher vibration and a new state of mind. Please join me on the second and fourth Wednesdays of every month at 12 noon Eastern, 11 Central, and 9 a.m. Pacific. See you next time, and thank you so much, Pam.
Thank you for listening to the Power of Inspiration and Awakening Radio with Julia Griffin to master a higher frequency for a new state of mind. Join us next time as Julia takes us deeper into the memory of the moments of light where transcendence and enlightenment emerge. The memory of the jewel of consciousness is always lived within you to tap into waves of energy and create huge changes by imagining the beauty of the vision and desires that are hidden in the heart. Learn to find your way back to nature, beauty, and your own heart, which holds the secrets of your existence and future. To discover more about Julia's adventures, animal communication, and the teachings she brings to every show, visit onetrueself.com. That's onetrueself.com. That's ONE, trueself.com.